What does it mean for Lindsey and her Olympic comeback? Where are we on this?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to just talking a bunch of trash about the Winter Games here with you guys, and now we've got to focus on this developing story, which I have to stress, we don't know anything. There hasn't been. I was looking just 30 seconds ago. There's no more news now, but anytime you have crash, airlifted, limping, grimacing, all of those in the same sentence, that's never what you want to see 7 days before the opening ceremony. And Lindsey Vonn has been skiing on a reconstructed knee. Let's back up. She's one of the great stories, if not the greatest story, coming into this Olympics because she's been retired for half a decade. She stepped away from the sport because of injury. She got her knee repaired. She fought her way back. She earned her way onto the team. She's one of the best skiers in the world again at age 41. And to have this wreck happen in Switzerland just days before the start is it's really tough to see.
Oh, my heart hurts for Lindsey Vonn. Busby, you and I had the great privilege of getting to talk to Lindsey Vonn just a couple of months ago, and to hear her just renewed sense of passion and excitement for the sport. She's just so good for Team USA and so good for this sport. So I'm hoping for the absolute best for Lindsey Vonn, that we get to see her kind of continue her redemption tour in Milan. But another potential redemption tour is Mikaela Shiffrin. She's broken all sorts of alpine skiing records heading into Milan, but I cannot forget all of the crashes that she had in Beijing. So is this her own form of a redemption tour this year as well?
Absolutely. I mean, she was skiing so well as a young skier in the previous two Olympics. She goes and crashes out multiple times, doesn't even finish three of her races in Beijing. And then last year or the year after that, she had a terrible crash in Killington that she's still recovering from in terms of PTSD. She said that it was so traumatic that she had to undergo therapy in order to get back on the slopes and feel comfortable doing these huge, terrifying downhills again. She's the winningest skier in terms of World Cup terms, male or female, by a long shot. And so she's obviously a medal favorite at these games. But there is always that nagging back of your mind sensation. Is this going to be the run? Is this going to be the time that I don't make it all the way down to the bottom? And obviously seeing this happen to Lindsey Vonn obviously has to play into her mind somewhat. She's as tough as they come, but she's an example of how Olympic athletes are now prizing their mental health as well as their physical health. And if she's able to handle both of those challenges, she should be on the podium.
All right, Busby. I always tell Caroline I'm the old guy on this show. So I'm going to pull up my little chair, my little reading glasses. I'm going to remind everybody of a time when I was a kid growing up, that the most important sport in the Winter Olympics, and it wasn't even close, was figure skating. Like, everybody became an expert on a triple sow cow, like, immediately. Don't even know what it is, but we're an expert, right? So here I am as a lover of a good nickname. Team USA's Ilia Malinin is also known as the Quad God. Okay, the Quad God because of how many quads he can hit. The favorite for the gold on the men's side. He doesn't just want to win gold. He wants to revive the popularity of figure skating. Can he do it?
Absolutely, 100%. The best thing about the Olympics is what you just said. Everybody suddenly becomes an expert in whatever sport it is. We all know basketball. We all know hockey, that kind of thing. But we don't know anything about handball in the summer games. We don't know anything about curling in the winter games. And we watch it for a week and we suddenly think, we're experts. What kind of strategy was that? What were you thinking? And with figure skating, it's amped to the nth degree because there is so much subjectivity in the judging. You have to understand how the judges think. You have to understand what they're looking for, and you have to understand the absolute technical mastery that it requires to be able to do these things on ice. And you can see someone skate a quad, skate a magnificent program. They make one little twitch, and you're like, that's it. That's it. They lost the medal. And the sad thing is, it's often true. The thing about Malinin is he is so good. He is so far above the rest of the world right now that as long as he performs to the extent of his abilities, the U.S. should be in great shape. He's on another level, and he is part of the reason, not the whole reason, but he's part of the reason why I think that the U.S. is going to have a tremendous interest in figure skating this week.
I do want to look at the women's side, though, because there has been some questions about the U.S. being able to keep up with the Russians and the Japanese technically in women's figure skating. Is this the year that an American woman finds herself on the podium?
I will say yes. I will not put my money on any kind of prediction markets or anything like that because that would be unethical. But I will say yes. You have three tremendous athletes, the big three they call themselves, where going into this where you have Amber Glenn, you have Alyssa Liu, and you have Isabeau Levito. I'm sorry, speaking too fast here. All three of these women are capable of winning a medal at the Olympics. They all have won national championships in the United States, and all three of them bring a completely different energy to the ice. They are good friends, they are strong competitors, and every single one of them has a great backstory that brings them to this point. They're going to have the entire United States riveted watching them both in the team event and then in the individual event.
All right. Well, let's stick with things I love, controversy. We are not without controversy in sports. We're used to putting the word gate in anything, Spygate, Deflategate. No, the Olympics have outdone this. The ski jumping event now has Crotchgate. Tell everybody what's happening.
Yes.
What is Crotchgate, Busbee?
Crotchgate, how do I even begin to start with this? Crotchgate is the fact that ski jumpers who ski off these gigantic hills. Yeah, I know. I've got to be very, very careful here. I don't want to get our license revoked. I don't want to get our bosses mad at us. I will be very delicate here. Ski jumpers. Okay, look. Think of it this way. Think of when you put your hand out the window in a moving car. Okay, and you can have your hand like this, and it'll go there will be wind resistance. You tilt your hand a little bit like this. There's even more wind resistance. Now imagine instead of a hand, you're talking about a skier going off a jump and going and leaping down one of those gigantic hills. The more wind resistance that they're able to put up, the longer that they're able to stay in the air. And the fact that they wear these very tight suits, the wind goes around them. But if they add just a little bit of fabric to those suits, then they can stay up in the air just a little bit longer. And experimentation has found, here's where I got to be delicate, that the best place to put that extra fabric is in the crotch, because that's where the wind whips through to the most degree. The wind whips through your crotch, and to that degree, it holds them up just a little bit longer. Norway found out about this and got caught at it. It was a tremendous scandal, tremendous disgrace. And so now there are all sorts of electronic sensors that go into uniforms. There's all sorts of investigations. There's inspections constantly. They are inspecting the crotch. I will say it again. And they managed to, they have taken this form of cheating out of the sport. But obviously we're all having a laugh about it, but it is very deadly serious to these people that do it, because this is their sport, and they have compared it to the same as doping, where you have an unfair advantage. You take advantage of the rules, you go around the rules, and you can win medals that way. So hopefully it has been removed from the sport. But yes, you will hear the word crotch more times over the next 2 weeks than you care to, I'm sure.
Oh, gosh, just quality reporting there. But one thing that I learned about ski jumping is it's crazy. You weigh in the morning of, you weigh in before, you have to let them know if you have a sip of water. They inspect your skates, they inspect your nail, they inspect every single little inch of your body to make sure that everything is consistent. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. So Crotchgate, there you go.
Yes.
We're talking about Lindsey Vonn. We're talking about so many American stars. Chloe Kim is another one of those. She is seeking a historic three-peat, but she's gone through some injuries. Her competition schedule over the last couple of years has been a little bit lighter. So is she still the hands-down favorite, or maybe has the gap shrunk a little bit between Chloe Kim and the fields?
I think the answers to both of those is yes. She's still the favorite, contingent on something I'll discuss in a second, but the rest of the field has caught up with her. Snowboarding is still at that stage where you're seeing escalating levels of difficulty, escalating abilities. What Chloe Kim was able to do at several Olympics ago, she was the only one able to do, several snowboarders are able to do now in terms of tricks. But she suffered a shoulder injury earlier in January, and the question is, how much is that going to affect her? It's a question, because snowboarding requires a lot of, obviously, difficult maneuvering, difficult slams down on the ice and on the snow, and you're going to have to figure out whether you're able to make those tricks while you're in the air a lot of times. So Chloe Kim is by far the best in the world over the last decade or so, but the question is whether she'll be able to do it this time around. She's got that aspect, and then she's also got the mental aspect. We talked about that with Mikaela Shiffrin. Chloe Kim, to some extent, has been wondering whether this is the sport that she wants to continue to do, because she's had so much success, but she's also faced a lot of pushback. She faced a lot of off ice controversy in terms of people protesting her, criticizing her, criticizing her. And she's kind of gotten over it in terms of the sense of the mental aspect of this. The question is whether she's going to be able to focus enough to be able to fight through the shoulder injury and bring home another gold medal. She is still the favorite, but there's a big question mark attached to it.
All right. So I love new also. Ski mountaineering sounds dangerous.
Yes.
What is ski mountaineering?
Ski mountaineering is a sport that one of those sports that you're like, how is this a sport? It's not just skiing down the mountain, it's climbing back up it too. You've got to go and climb up the mountain. You have these special slicks on your skis that allow skiers to climb up the mountain. They've got to go sort of around a little bit of an obstacle course. Then they've got to take their skis off, put them on their back, hike up a few steps, and then ski back down again. As you can imagine, you have to be unbelievably aerobically fit to do this. This is the kind of thing where you can't just be a downhill skier and then assume that you can run right up the mountain too. It's unbelievably difficult to do. There are only a very few athletes in the world that can do it at the Olympic level. And so the question is going to be, how many people are going to pass out doing this, and how many people watching at home are going to think, oh my gosh, I could not even possibly do that, or I'd collapse.
Now, by the way, they should be nicknamed quad gods. They should be the quad gods, the quads that it takes to come back up the hill. I'm petitioning. Go ahead, Caroline.
I mean, I would probably collapse just attempting any of these things. Just going up the ski lift would make me just a little queasy. So I long have said that I just want a normal person doing all of these things. So we have a good barometer for how difficult all of these events are. But before we get you out of here, Busbee, this is the first time since Sochi 2014, when we saw TJ Oshie and the 4 shootout goals against Russia, that we'll see NHL players in the Olympics. So what does this mean for the classic USA-Canada rivalry on the ice?
Yeah, it's going to ramp it up to another level. I mean, obviously, the USA and Canada have on-ice rivalries. There's off-ice rivalries. There's heated words. There's all kinds of battles back and forth. This just takes it to another level because you've now got the best of the best. You've got all the familiar names, almost all the familiar names. Alex Ovechkin is not going to be there because Russia is not there. But all of the familiar names from virtually every NHL team is sending players to the Olympics this year. And the U.S. and Canada have their fair share of big names on both sides. The main thing about the Olympics, though, it's going to be slightly different from what we're used to. First of all, the distance the time between periods is a little bit shorter. It's down from 18 minutes to 15. The ice rink should be about the same size. But here's the big thing. No fighting, okay? In the Olympics, they don't put up with that. It's a penalty right off the bat. There's no dropping of the gloves. And so if that's an attraction for you in hockey, and it is for a lot of people, it's not going to be there. But I think what we will see is talent at the absolute highest level on both sides of the border.